Welcome to Uncaged, the show that celebrates thought leadership from today's top business leaders. The program provides a voice to amazing executives from around the globe who are shaping the world of business today and mapping the path to the commerce of tomorrow. Today, we're speaking with Vince Hafeli. Hey, Vince, how are you?
Good, thank you.
It's great to have you on the show. Vince is the president of Ajax Paving Industries. We'll talk more about what Ajax is up to. He is also working heavily in the area of mental health. He is a mental health advocate and speaker, and we'll talk about where that plays in and how he's moving that discussion forward. But before we get there, Vince, tell us a little bit about yourself and your career.
Well, I started into the industry in 1985, about as low as you could start. I started driving a wheelbarrow, testing concrete. And I progressed over the years. I worked for the Florida Department of Transportation for a while in their geotechnical engineering section and landed with a contractor in 2002 and progressed up through the ranks in the construction industry. I originally came here as a quality control manager, took over the vice president of their asphalt plant operations, and in 2019 took over as the president of Ajax Paving.
Congratulations. Yeah. I mean, I always feel like individuals such as yourself that come through the organization and the industry have such a better feel for the details. And I think that's really quite important. But Vince, tell us a little bit more about Ajax. And then I definitely want to delve a little bit more on what you're working on in the mental health space. But before that, let's just tell me a little bit about what's the latest with Ajax Paving.
Ajax is a family-owned business. It has been since back in the early 50s. The ownership actually transferred to the Horan family here in Florida. Horan came down and started the company in the early 80s. So we're a family-owned business. When I came here in 2002, we had about 80 employees, and today we're approaching 500.
Wow.
We're located mainly along the southwest coast of Florida. We do work from Orlando over to Tampa and down into the Naples area. We're an asphalt producer. We have 8 asphalt plants, 4 area construction offices. Do a lot of work for the Florida Department of Transportation. They're probably our biggest and best customer that we work for.
Yeah, well, I mean, since I moved down to Miami myself, there's always something going on. So I suppose that's a good supply of work. And I imagine, when these hurricanes hit, certainly the area that you're focused on actually got hit pretty badly. And with the last one, is that something you guys are focused on as well?
We were actually pretty honored. The Sanibel Causeway, which was completely wiped out, leaving about 6,000 people over there, unable to get to the island. The DOT quickly put a contract together, and Ajax was one of the 2 companies that was selected to work on that. Wow. So we were part of getting that causeway open well ahead of schedule that the governor set, and now we're actually working on the actual design build, and we'll go back and do the permanent restoration on that causeway. So yeah, the hurricane impacted us. We all in all probably did 40 jobs or so for the DOT getting roads back open.
Wow. Well, I mean, it's a great project. I mean, it's certainly a tragedy that the hurricane caused so much devastation. But I suppose that's kind of part of the name of the game down here in Florida. Yeah. But tell me, Vince, I know that you're spending a lot of time on the topic of mental health, and tell me a little bit how that fits in with what Ajax is working on.
Well, Ajax has always had a culture of caring for their people. That just takes it to a new level. We actually got into it because I was working on a doctoral program at the University of South Florida. I had a topic that I wanted to do on low-level management, frontline leadership management, and one of the professors there kind of told me that was weak and lame and go find something better. So I went home and thought, I'm actually a survivor of suicide from 2007, so it's personal to me.
Yeah.
We lost an employee to suicide in 2015. So organizationally, we had experienced it. So I began the research, and the further I got into it, we decided that in January of '02, at our annual safety day, we were going to begin talking about the topic. So we did. And within hours, began receiving phone calls and emails from employees thanking us for going down that path. 6 months later, employees coming back telling us that we'd saved their marriage, that their career was back on track. So that kick-started us. And then actually this past November, we sent 11 employees to be trained as mental health first aid responders. We're getting ready to send another 12 people through that, and we have a waiting list of people waiting to go. So it's apparent that the mental health and being able to say, hey, I'm not okay today, and not be in fear of repercussions, not being stigmatized against, not being told, hey, you need to go home today, no pay, and think about it and get your head on straight. So it really just takes our culture of caring and for employees to a higher level.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we stand for. And I mean, so there's the personal reason why we got into it, the educational reason, and an employee reason for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's clearly a core of what Ajax is about. It's also clearly very personal for you, Vince, and something that is needed and something that came up as a topic quite a bit over the last several years. And I think that as we all found ourselves hunkered down at home, that was pretty tough for folks during the pandemic. Tell me how the mental health space has evolved for you guys over the last couple of years.
Well, like I said, we lost an employee to it, which would now be about 8 years ago. So that impacted some of our people. At the time, we brought in some counselors to work with them and help them through the situation. And then, it kind of like I just kind of laid out, me being challenged more in the doctoral program I was in, and then us beginning to roll it out in the company.
Mm-hmm.
Some webinars that I was able to give spring of last year with another gentleman. You just suddenly start getting these calls from people that want to tell you their stories. They want to tell you, I've lost several family members. I once stopped my mother.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly now I don't have to live in shame anymore, because if it can happen to someone like you, it can happen to anyone. So, I mean, it's amazing the stories. I've got a journal that I carry with me that's filled with emails and telephone calls from people. So people just want to be able to express their struggles and not be reprimanded for it.
Yeah, that's a really nice way of saying it. I mean, I think at this point, there's probably not an adult that hasn't experienced some connection with suicide in their lives. And it's one of those things that isn't really discussed enough, isn't really thought through enough. And certainly we can do a hell of a lot more in terms of thinking about prevention and helping people really open up on some of the challenges that society presents today. But I mean, in the context of the business for Ajax, so I mean, here we are at this watershed moment where we had this pandemic and people were suddenly found themselves not able to purchase new cars. And probably, I'm imagining, maybe a lot of construction projects got slowed down. I don't know. You tell me, how did the pandemic impact things, and how has that kind of maybe accelerated things coming out of it?
Well, actually, the pandemic, as far as work-wise, actually sped up things a little bit for us. The governor in the state of Florida actually moved some jobs up and got them into the pipe. They let us work longer hours because there was less traffic on the roads at the time. The things that did impact you as you used to be able to just go to a dealership and pick up a new pickup truck, and now you got to kind of plan for that truck you want 7 or 8 months from now.
Yeah.
But even those struggles, if you approach them right, in the end makes you a better company.
Yeah.
Because you begin to strategize and do things maybe that you didn't used to do because you didn't have to. So
Yeah.
I think in those regards, it probably made us a better company, a little more efficient. Our employees in this industry were fortunate that they were able to work and earn paychecks through all of that. We actually grew a little bit. We didn't lay anyone off. That was important to us to keep people working. So as bad as it sounds to say, the pandemic actually kind of impacted my industry and our company in a good way.
Yeah, I can see the ways that it was favorable for growth, and certainly something that was needed was work. People sometimes forget how that was at the back of everyone's minds, which is, hey, everyone still needs to make money. So that's absolutely critical. So Vince, I mean, as you look forward here we are at the beginning of 2023. What are you thinking about? What are the key issues this year, and what are the things that you're most excited about?
Well, we're always looking for opportunity to grow so we can bring people along in the company. As a company, we're actually doing a lot of leadership training right now. We're fortunate to have a lot of young people in the company. I'm suddenly the old man around here. Most of the leaders in our company are about 20 years younger than me, so we're blessed that we're well situated for the future from a leadership role. So we're really just looking for opportunities, and they present themselves where we maybe might land in a new market, or may look at getting a little more vertically integrated in some of the things that we do. So hey, it's a challenging time on a lot of levels, but hey, we're excited about the future. The state of Florida, like I said, is one of our bigger customers. They have a strong and robust work program for the next few years. The federal work program looks good. We could all sit around and talk doom and gloom and about how bad the world is. We have a lot of good young people. I'm an advocate. I have been for years in talks I give around the country about our young people, and I think they're phenomenal. I think they will make us do things better because they're a lot more intelligent than I was at that age, and I think they'll come up with new ways to do things. So I'm always excited to sit with them and let them educate me on how we need to move forward. So
I think that's a really nice thought. I find that that's so true, especially with some of the things that we've been discussing today. They're certainly much more balanced in the way that they talk about their lives, and they seem to understand the whole person. Whereas I think perhaps my generation, maybe yours, we found ourselves kind of like talking about work at work and everything else outside. It was hard to kind of bring all those elements together. But I think that really what you and the team at Ajax are doing is bridging that gap. Do you find that finding employees right now is tricky for you guys?
I keep hearing nationwide where I go, everyone talking about they can't hire people. We're not having those problems.
Yeah.
I talked at a conference over in Orlando back in December, and I told all of my competitors that, hey, this mental health thing, you really need to get on board with it. The young people, it's important to them. You need to address it. And I said, hey, and if you don't want to get on board with it, that's okay, because all of your people are knocking on my door wanting to work for us because of how we take care of our people.
Yeah. So maybe that's it. I mean, this is this idea of purpose-driven organization, purpose-driven leadership. And it's a message that I would say right now, because of the recession, there's several companies that perhaps are forgetting purpose. And it's great to see how a company can experience success by merging that purpose into what they're doing and getting talent and growing business. Vince, it's been incredible to hear about what you guys are up to at Ajax. If someone wanted to learn more about your business, where's the best place to reach you?
Well, then go to our website, which is www.ajaxpaving.com. They can follow us on social media. We're on LinkedIn. We're on Facebook, always highlighting our employees. They can call our main number, 941-486-3600. If they want to find us, we're easy to find. We're out there everywhere.
Exactly. And you probably have a couple guys on the road somewhere as well.
Somewhere on the road. Just look for our trucks.
Exactly. Well, Vince, thanks so much for being on Uncaged today. We've been speaking with Vince Hafeli. Vince is the president of Ajax Paving Industries. We've been talking about the growth of their business and the evolution, and really focusing on an issue, which is mental health, and making that kind of a central pillar, central principle of how they operate as a company and how they think about taking care of their workers and really taking care of the constituents and the family of those workers as well. Vince, amazing to talk with you today, and we look forward to having you back.
Thank you.
Cheers.